Students, I welcome you all to the PharmWise Academy. This is the first video in which we are going to discuss about your first syllabus, first subject in your first sem B.Pharm, that is Human Anatomy and Physiology. This is the Unit 1. In Unit 1, there are three topics: Introduction to Human Body, Cellular Level of Organization, and Tissue Level of Organization. In this video, we are going to talk about the Introduction to Human Body. So let's start. Introduction to human body. As we all know, the human body is a complex and highly organized structure made up of trillions of cells. It is a remarkable system that functions through the coordination of various organs and systems. Understanding the human body involves studying both its structure, anatomy, and function physiology. Okay, as I said, we have to study under the human anatomy and physiology mainly the anatomy and physiology. Okay, the anatomy means the structure, what is the shape of the organ, what is the weight of the organ, and etc etc, we are going to study under the anatomy. And under the physiology we are going to study that particular organ, how it is going to work. Okay, this is the anatomy and physiology. You have to keep in mind these two terms. Then comes the levels of structural organization. Till now we knew that cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Okay, but when we look inside to the cell, for example, if I draw a cell, let's consider it's a cell, and this is the nucleus. Okay, this is the mitochondria, these are the ribosomes, etc etc, and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum, etc etc. Okay, this is the cell, this is the basic structural and functional unit of life. But if we look inside to the cell, if we look inside to the mitochondria, what are these mitochondria? These are made up of some kind of organic and inorganic compounds. Okay, so this is the chemical level of classification. Okay, the life starts from the organic or inorganic compounds. Okay, there are inorganic compounds like sodium. Okay, inside cell you can find sodium, and organic compounds are there like lipids, and various higher molecules are there. So like this the life starts from the basic, from the scratch. Okay, this is the chemical level of organization. Then these chemicals form the cell organelles, and cell organelles form the cell. Okay, now this is the cell. As we all know, cell is the basic structure and function unit of life, focuses on cells, which are the smallest units of life, and how they function and interact. Okay. Next, the same kind of cells will combine and form a tissue. Okay. For example, if we join the muscle tissue, if we join the muscle cells, then we will get a muscle tissue, right? Likewise, if we joins the several neurons, then we will get the nervous system. Okay, etc etc. Like this, the same kind of tissue forms the cluster, and that cluster performs a same or similar kind of function. Then this is called a tissue. Then this tissue combines and forms a organ. Like same kind of tissue will combine and perform a similar function in combination, that will called as a organ. Okay, like heart and kidneys and your brains, etc etc, these are the organs. These are made up of for example, if you take the heart is made up of cardiomyocytes, and brain is made up of neurons and neuroganglia, and the kidneys are made up of nephrons, etc etc. Okay, so these are the organs. When these organs combine together, then they form the organ system level. Okay, this organ system level involves the study of how organs cooperate to perform specific functions. Okay, like if we talk about heart. Okay, let's consider the heart. Pardon my handwriting. Heart. The heart muscles are involuntary in nature. Like we cannot control our heartbeat. Okay, so this is under our control. This is the heart is under the control of autonomic nervous system, because it is involuntary in nature. We cannot ourselves control the heartbeat, right? So this is under the control of ANS, autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is controlling our heart rhythm, how it beats, what should be the heartbeat. So this is controlling, it is controlled by autonomic nervous system. So This is the organ system level, that how the two organs, because the ANS comes under the brain and heart is different organ, how they coordinate between each other and performs the function combinedly. This is called the organ system level. And finally we comes to the organism level, like looks at the entire organism as a whole, like a human body. Consider all the organ systems working together. Likewise, there are several organs which cooperate and forms the organism. Okay, all systems combine together and form the organism or a human in this particular case. So let's move on. I think it's clear. Next comes to the body systems. Okay, nicely in this picture it is mentioned, it is depicting that various types of body systems. What are the systems present in our body? Like the human body is organized into several systems, such systems each with specific functions, like integumentary system, skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system, endocrine system. So many systems are there. Okay, you can check it. Like this picture is depicting that it is the represents the skin. Okay, it represents the skin. This is the integumentary system. This represents bone, that is the skeletal system. This represents muscles, that is the muscular system. And this depicting the heart and the arteries and veins. This is the circulatory system. This is the nervous system. This is the digestive system, etc. So many systems are there. For performing the each and every function, there are the different systems allotted in our body. So these are the body systems. Then next comes to the basic life processes. Okay, there are actually 6 life processes, that is metabolism, responsiveness, movement, growth, differentiation, and reproduction. Okay, what is metabolism? All we know, metabolism, all chemical reactions occurring in the body to maintain life. Okay, the metabolism is of two types. One is catabolism and one is anabolism. Catabolism is breaking down of smaller molecules, larger molecules, and converting into smaller molecules to give energy. Okay, catabolic reactions give energy, and anabolism reactions. In anabolism, the smaller molecules are used up to give a larger molecule, and energy is used. Okay, energy is used in the metabolism. Responsiveness, respond to the external stimuli. Okay, this is the basic life process. Okay, when someone touches you, you are going to feel it, that somebody is touching to your skin, somebody is touching to your hand. Okay, you can feel and you will react, you will respond to it. Okay, the ability to sense and respond to stimuli from the environment, this is called the responsiveness, and this is the basic life process. The next is movement, you walk around, etc., etc., internal and external motion of the body and its parts, this is the movement. Then next is the growth, increase in the size or number of cells. Okay, as your age grows, your size is growing. Okay, and next is the differentiation, cell becomes specialized for specific functions. Okay, different cells will be differentiated for performing the different functions in our body. Moving on, next, reproduction, formation of new cells or new individuals. Okay, this we all know. Next is the basic anatomical terminology. We are going to study the standard reference positions for the body, with the person standing upright, facing forward, and arms at the side, etc. Like this is the topic. You are going to study about the planes and sections. Okay, you have already studied about the transfer section and C section and etc., etc. You have studied in your PUC. But here, while discussing and handling the subject human anatomy and physiology, you will come across the variety of terms. Okay, which is representing to the directions and planes and sections of the body. So you have to keep in mind these words, and you have to understand what these words represent. Okay, prone position. First, let's discuss about the position. There are two positions, that is prone position and supine position. The body is laying face down. Okay, if we lay on a ground or on the floor, by facing the face downwards. Okay, This is called the prone position. Okay, and in the supine position, the face is up. Okay, we are laying down by facing our face upside. Next, these are the directional terms. Describe the location of one body part in relation to another. Okay, example: anterior, posterior, superior, inferior. Superior, upper part of the body towards the head. Okay, anything, any organ which lies on the upper part of the body, this we call this superior. And lower part of the body, inferior means lower part of the body away from the head. If any organ is lying below in the lower part of the body, we call it inferior. Okay, these terms are used when you are studying the position of the organs, right? These terms are used. Anterior or ventral, front side of. If we are talking about the body or any organ, like anterior. Okay, some organ is anterior to some organ, and posterior or dorsal, like some organ is posterior to some organ. Okay, like this. The posterior means back side and anterior means front side in respective cases. Medial, in middle. Okay, by name you can understand. Lateral, away from the middle. Okay, something if we say some organ is lateral, then we should understand that it is away from the middle. The next word is intermediate, in between of two structures. Okay, if some organ is lying in between the two structures, then we use the term intermediate. Ipsilateral, see the pronunciation: I, ipsilateral, on the same side of the body. Okay, for example, you can take the liver is ipsilateral to the kidney. Okay, to the left kidney, because in the human body, kidney lies here. Okay, kidney lies here. Sorry, liver lies here on the left side, and okay, sorry, on the right side, the kidney is located, liver, and below it the kidney is located. Okay, we can say that the kidney is ipsilateral to the liver. Okay, to the right kidney. Liver is ipsilateral to the right kidney. Okay, so next is the contralateral, on the opposite side of the body. Okay, the two kidneys are contralateral. One kidney is here and another kidney is here. Okay, then proximal, nearer to the origin of a structure. Okay, if some organ is starting from this point, and let us assume that this is the organ, then this is the starting or origin point of this particular organ. Okay, nearer to this area, this is called proximal region. Okay, this is called proximal region, nearer to the origin of a structure. Distal, away from the origin of a structure. Now this area is the proximal region, and now this area is away from the origin because the structure is originating from this side, from this point, and this is away from the, and actually opposite to the origin. So this is called the distal position. Okay, next the superficial, towards or on the surface. If something is present on the surface or above this, then this is the superficial position. And deep, away from the surface. Okay, this is the surface. If something is placed here or below the surface, you can say deep. Okay, so these are the basic anatomical terminologies you have to remember. Okay, now next we move on to the body planes. Very important topic, because in every aspect in the anatomy and physiology, and in the future, like the pharmacology and your pathophysiology, you are coming across, definitely coming across the planes. Okay, imaginary flat surfaces used for references. Example: sagittal, frontal, transverse, etc. Okay. Now see, sagittal. Sagittal plane. This is the sagittal plane. Okay. Now this is the sagittal plane. This is dividing our body into two halves. Okay. If I consider this left, this is right. Okay. The sagittal plane is dividing our body into two equal parts, that is left and right. So any plane, these are the actually imaginary lines which cuts our body into two equal halves, that is left and right. If it is separating in left and right, then it is the sagittal plane. Okay, this is the sagittal plane. Now next, the transverse plane. Transverse plane, if this is the transverse plane. Okay, can you appreciate this, students? This is the transverse plane. In the transverse plane, if it is dividing our body in upper part and lower part. Okay, upper body and lower body, if it is dividing like that, then this is the transverse plane. Okay, this is the sagittal plane and this is the transverse plane. Now another one, the coronal or frontal plane. Okay, this is the frontal plane. Is that clear? Or I'll just erase it for you to avoid confusion. Please appreciate this, student. This is the frontal plane. Okay, the frontal plane divides the body into front region, anterior and posterior. Okay, front side and back side of the body. Okay, this is the frontal plane. This we call as the frontal plane. So these are the three planes. One, the sagittal plane that divides the body into left and right. Okay, transverse plane, upper and lower part, and frontal plane, anterior and posterior. You have to remember these planes because these are the very important topics. Moving on. Again, the same thing is given. Sagittal divides the two parts, that is left and right. Mid sagittal divides body into two equal right and left parts, passes through the center. Okay, this is the mid sagittal. Parasagittal divides the body into two unequal parts of left and right. Okay, consider this is the body. If this is the body, pardon my drawing. Parasagittal means it will not passes through the center. It will pass either on the it will be more lean on either of the side. Okay, this is left or this is right or vice versa. Okay, this is the parasagittal. This is the parasagittal. Next, frontal plane divides the body into anterior and posterior, as like as a, and transverse plane divides the body into upper part and lower part. Okay, just now we have seen it. Next, we are coming to our last topic for today's. We come to the body cavities. Okay, these are the spaces within the body that contain and provide internal organs. Example, cranial cavity, it contains the brain. Okay, like here in the cranial cavity, the brain is stored, and between the brain there is the cerebrospinal fluid, which gives the shock absorber, which acts like the shock absorber for the brain. And extending from this, the cranial cavity, there is the vertebral cavity. Okay, which provides the shock absorber property for the spinal cord. Okay, in this region the spinal cord is located, right? Okay, next comes to the thoracic cavity. In thoracic cavity we have three parts: pleural cavity, pericardial cavity, and mediastinum. Okay, this is the thoracic cavity. Can you appreciate this? This is the thoracic cavity. Inside the thoracic cavity, there is there are three again different cavities, that is pleural cavity, pericardial cavity, and mediastinum. Okay, pleural cavity. Pleural cavity is the cavity in which the lungs are stored. Okay, out of before the lungs there is a covering. Okay, and between that covering and the lungs there lies the pleural cavity. Okay, is that clear, students? Between the lungs and the external covering of the lung there lies a cavity, that is the pleural cavity. Next is the pericardial cavity. Okay, it is the space between the pericardium and the heart. Okay, as like as the lungs, pericardium, guesses by name, heart, it is related to heart. Okay, in pericardial cavity, there is a space between the heart and outer covering of the heart, same as like the lung. Okay, that space is the pericardial cavity and mediastinum. Okay, in this thoracic cavity, it is somewhat like that, like this, and here are the lungs, and somewhere in the middle is the heart. So inside this, there is the pleural cavity. Okay, pleural cavity, and this is the pericardial cavity. Now, whatever this space is left out, okay, whatever this space is left out, this is the mediastinum. Okay, now next, abdominal cavity and pelvic cavity. Okay, this is the abdominal cavity in which your stomach, intestines, etc., etc., are located, and this is the pelvic cavity.